G'day everyone, welcome to today's YouTube video. My name is James, welcome back to my channel, welcome if you're new. I'm going to be just playing today in my journal, real time, just chatting you through it. It's not necessarily a tutorial, but please follow along if you feel like it. I'm going to be drawing mermaids. Don't know how many, don't know what type, I just want to get started and play in my journal. I'm actually, I have my music playing in the background. It's epidemic sounds, so I have royalty rights to use this music, but I'm not going to be able to put the noise suppression on because it might cancel it out in the background. So hopefully that's not too loud for you. It's just nice and calming for me. And I'm going to start with a pencil. Why not? Oh, that sharpener's full. I need another one. I'm going to see The Little Mermaid tonight and I am so excited I can't even tell you. I'm literally freaking out. I feel like I've been waiting for it for years. The new live action Little Mermaid. I feel like I want to draw it a little bit bigger today. Maybe 3/4 face. Maybe a little cuter rather than super siren-y. Just gonna block in that face. That looks nice. Steve reserved our tickets like ages ago, and I've just been counting down the days, and everyone who got to go to the screenings, and Steve's been trying to not look at any information about it. I cannot help myself. I've seen almost everything you can see bar the actual movie at this point, so still very excited. It's hours worth of film I haven't seen, but I have seen every trailer, everything. And that's good for the pupil and the iris. I'll just cut into that eye a little bit to make that less open. I'm also currently working on my Daisy style workshop, so that should be ready to go soon. I know I've been mentioning it a lot, but I had actually done a ton of work on it last year. I didn't realize how much I had already done, so shame on me for putting it on the back burner for so long. It was practically all finished. I just needed to, even the formatting and everything, I just needed to film some of the tutorials, which is the main part of it. That's probably why I felt like it wasn't really done. But yeah, I was so much more ahead than I realized. So that's actually been really nice. I've started squaring the top of my ears off a little bit more recently. She's looking nice. Just shade in that pupil and iris. And I'm really excited about it. It's all sketching, it's all drawing. So nothing crazy, and it's all about style, and I teach 5 specific styles that I like to play with a lot. In fact, this is even in there, the 3/4 fashion face. This is a bit more of a cuter version of it, but it's just 5 of the styles. I have more than 5, but I felt like more than 5 was too much for one workshop, so I might end up doing another like extension workshop or something. Let me put this shoulder up here a little bit more angled. I like that really severe curve in the body. The bust comes through here. And then it's really not going to be, it's not really going to be a full tail, it's going to kind of drag down here to the bottom of the page. But I'll put in the direction because it's kind of slightly twisted. Where do I want that hand? I've been enjoying hands just kind of behind the back, so I might put that behind the back. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, it's very sketchy. I'm really enjoying it. But I had done so much more work than I had realized, so I kept saying I was putting it off because I really had anticipated when I went back to it that I'd kind of essentially be starting from the beginning, and I just did not have that in me. But I had done so much, so it really wasn't as bad as I thought, which is nice. Okay. Now hair. Mermaid hair is always a little tricky. Put on her eyebrows. I always loved the split, like the split middle part with the curls and hair flowing everywhere. But it's always like, do I want the hair flowing up? Or I think I'll do hair flowing up for this one. So I've just been in a really sketchy mood, basically, because everything in that course has been sketching and playing. I feel like I want more hair, kind of more tendrils going everywhere. Just random pieces, make it a bit fuller. Not really across the face like that. Swing and a miss with that one. And so that's good. So I hope to have that out soon, and then I can get to work on my virtual voyage, which I'm very excited about. But that might have to wait a little bit because I still got to do Collage Club and Art Snacks because it's about to become the start of a new month, and that everything kind of resets for me over here. I have to do all of my start of the month things first before I can go on to everything else. I have an audition in a few weeks, which I'm preparing for. So that's exciting. I don't like that one. It just feels like some of them where I'm like, that's just not the right place for that. Okay. More downward facing lashes. I think I want to paint this. And I could paint on her little, I don't know if it'd be bra or more like scales over the top of her bust. Kind of like painting them in scales. Let's paint. Oh, I have gouache here. I'm going to use some of this white gouache just to pop on the tray. It just activates the other gouache a lot easier and makes it nice and opaque. Because I use a water brush. I'm not fussing about with all the other methods today. Just going straight in with a water brush. And I think I'm going to keep it kind of painterly with lots of different tones. I don't think I need it to be super flat or nicely mixed or anything. Just whatever happens, happens. I'll go outside the lines too. This paper is, I want to say it's more of a sketch paper. It's not bad, but it just works a little differently with what I'm used to. it feels like cardstock rather than watercolor paper. So it peels a little quicker. There's not a lot of spread with your watercolors. So that's why I prefer to be a little bit more painterly. And I really don't care if it's messy. It's just a base. I'll end up working over the top of everything with other colors. That's also why the sketch doesn't matter too much, because you're going to lose a lot of it. She's looking a little sunburnt. I might have to grab some orange and pop it into this mix. Get a bit more of a peachy glow. Here come the sirens. I just love this process because I feel like a real artist when I'm being super painterly. And there's a touch of method to my madness. I really can't go into it right now because it's way too much for me to explain. I don't want to do it wrong. I'd probably like do it in a lesson where I really stop and think about it and make all my notes. It's not super involved, but for now I think I'm just going to enjoy throwing paint everywhere. The more tones I can get on here, the better. So that's why I'm kind of like squeezing the water out of the brush and doing that like self-cleaning on the brush. Because it's going to water it down and give me lots of variety. And then I'll pick some more up and pop it in. Usually to shadow areas. Because when I draw it, when I sketch it, I tend to get really sketchy in the shadow areas and to put a lot of that cross hatching, so I want to build up opacity there so I kind of hide a lot of that sketching underneath. And I'm really working wet into wet this whole time. You can see it starting to peel at the top of the page. It's not the end of the world. I want to grab some white. I've been liking to dull the eyes, the whites of the eyes out, pardon me, and then really only pick up the highlights. That's been something nice I've been playing with. Been super overcast here. Sorry, I hope I'm not losing my voice. I've got a water over here. Let me just grab a water. There's all that talking in the tutorials. It's been hours and hours of just filming and tutorials, so I'm like half in tutorial brain right now and half in relaxation mode, especially with that music. Goodness, I might actually fall asleep while I'm doing this. I can expel some of the water as I do the strokes of the hair, and maybe that will look nice and flowy. I like to color the chunk of the hair first and then do the little tendrils, little strands later. So I can see where everything's going. And I like, see how that line gets really, really thick and then thin again? That doesn't happen in real life, so I like having that in illustrations. Just a fun little something. Let's get some pink in here. I love the pink. Water it down a little bit. Becomes like a hot coral when you mix it with the orange. And coral is such a mermaid color for me. Might even give her a pink top. The scales. For the scales, like I'll usually cover what I want to cover and then stamp off the rest of the paint so that it kind of cleans the brush, but you get just that stippled look that looks a lot more like scales. And again, if you're using wet on wet, you've got an opportunity to kind of blend a little bit and it will softly feather out, which is a nice softer look. Alright, get that on there. And for the tail, I usually like to leave a lot of white space in the middle so that it looks like the scales are very reflective. So really amp up the vibrancy on the edges. And on that bust, just underneath. Gorgeous. I'm gonna put some more pink on those lips. She wants coral lipstick. Put pink down as a base and then I think I'll put some orange on top. Just blend those together a little bit. And put that in the eyes as well. Wow, that really pops. I like to make the iris a really fun color. All right, maybe add some more of this into the hair, give it some different tones. And again, expelling that water as I go so I can get it to really melt and flow into what's already up there. That's pretty. I don't know why I'm so excited to see this Little Mermaid. I mean, I do. I've always loved mermaids and I've always loved the movie The Little Mermaid, but this one in particular, I mean, I'm a fan of the other live action movies, but Cinderella is kind of the one where it peaked for me, so everything else has just been like, oh yeah, it's okay. I didn't really enjoy the Lion King one. I thought that was too much. But this one, I think the anticipation has just been built up for so long, and I've seen so much of what I am already enjoying that I'm like, I just need to see the rest. And I've been so jealous of everybody who's been posting that they went to the previews or they went to like a special screening or something, because I've just been here playing parts of the soundtrack over and over again. And I'm not allowed to do it near Steve because he's not trying to see anything, so I've been trying to keep it to myself, everything that I've already seen and that I'm already obsessed with, so that Steve doesn't get upset. Alright, let's leave her. Do I want to do another? I think I might just focus on her actually. I was going to do a page of mermaids, but I think I'm so enamored with her, I want to just stay on her. I'm going to heat tool it first. I'm going to slightly pull on the page as I do it, so it flattens out a little bit. Watch that color start to fade away. I don't know if it'll really pick up on camera, but can you see where I really overheated that part of the top and it turned a little bit more purple because I kind of scorched it a little bit rather than this really bright hot pink? That happens sometimes. It's not the end of the world, but that's why I say not to use a heat tool if you can avoid it. All right, let's go to town with these pencils. I want to kind of keep it all in the same reds, oranges, browns, pinks, purples that I've been using. And everything I add on top now will look more like the line work. This is an Indian red color, so it's a little bold. Will stand out. Should probably do the whites of the eyes first because I like to draw over the top of those once they've dried. See how that white now picks up a lot brighter? Just dab it out a touch. I don't cover all the whites of the eyes, I just kind of pick it up more towards the iris. Put that on the tip of the nose as well. Maybe at the top of the lips. And the bottom of the lip. I'll use white gel pen for when I actually want to do my final highlights, but middle of the eye, lid, it's always nice. Under the eyebrow sometimes. This is gouache too, so if you actually kind of push it in, you can reactivate some of it and blend it. How painterly that is. I love her face. Don't you love when you love it? I'm gonna put some hot fuchsia down in the corner of that mouth. Really start to add some dimension. Might even pop it at the top of my iris as well. Now this is a blue and will really start to add a lot of contrast. I'm going to use that for my pupil. I'm going to kind of square off these eyes as well. I don't usually do that. Just want to see what it looks like. And you know what? I think I said like I'll stick to the reds, pinks, and oranges. I'm not going to. I'm absolutely going to bring in every single color I own. And we're going to be going full rainbow fish. I always put so much color near the eyes, I just can't help it, but I think it's so pretty. I just have to be careful when I bring the pencils in because they're a different texture and I can make them really flat, and they can also introduce so much color and so much, like you can clean up your image when you add the pencils. You can add definition that you didn't mean to add, like straight lines and things, which next to all this painterly look tends to stand out. It tends to be a bit stark. So I do have to be careful that I'm still working with them really scribbly so that they're not starting to stand out in a bad way. Get into that halo eye. Yes, ma'am. I want this mint green as well. Use my sharpener. I'll add every color to the under eye. Not to the under eye, to the pupil. Nope, to the iris. I'll get there eventually. Or I could have used an iridescent palette. That would have been pretty. Too late now. Literally just going for it. Colors everywhere. She's going to be giving rainbow fish. Pride Mermaid. Goodness, how is it almost June? I feel like this year has flown by. I'm not mad about, I mean I am. I'm mad about it because I don't want to age too quickly. it being June will make it closer to July, which makes me closer to a year older, but I do love Christmas. So I don't mind that Christmas is fast approaching. Also, I think my next opportunity to dance might be like seasonal, like Halloween, so I will be a little bit transparent. I am trying to will the days away a little bit quicker, and I know I'll regret it, but I don't have an offer. I'm just in my manifestation. I'm being still a little bit practical, and I see that Halloween seems like the most likely for a good opportunity to pop up. Cats are snoring. Get that purple in. This is a really beautiful soft purple color. It's called Light Magenta. It's a Faber-Castell Polychromos. I don't recommend buying full sets of anything anymore unless you know you're just going to love it. So if you do get individual pencils, this Light Magenta's pretty beloved in my art kit. I wouldn't even say it's light magenta. It's kind of desaturated magenta, if you want to call it any kind of magenta. But to me, it's just a light red-based purple. Looks like the Daniel Smith watercolor Wisteria. It's a kind of perfect complement to that. But really beautiful for soft purple, whimsical shading. And the polychromos really do well at laying over the top of mixed media. Bianca, she's going full snoring. Just like Steve. Don't say I said that. Alright, there we go. Do I want this yellow fluorescent highlight? I mean, maybe. Why not? Let's put the fluoro on there. I'm gonna put it where I think I would put a lot of my highlights, so she can have some fluorescent highlight for some reason. Maybe she's bioluminescent. It also plays so nicely against the purple. The opposites on the color wheel, so they're going to contrast really well. So interesting. I mean, I rarely draw at such a large scale, so I always find that there's parts of my drawing that when you zoom in on them so much, I'm like, what information do I add here? Like, what? I never usually have to address this spot because usually it's so small. I don't need to. But when you blow it up like this big, you've got all these areas you can suddenly work in that you haven't had to work in before. Oh, the orange. Do I want the orange in here somewhere? Get that into the eyeball. That looks great. Maybe the hair. Some hair highlights in orange. And I'll probably take a photo of this for Collage Club, because I love to share my work on Collage Club. And with these, especially when I use the fluorescent pencils, I've been taking photos of my work so I can get a much more impressive color payoff when I go to do the editing, because your scanners won't scan fluorescent colors. So if you've seen my work lately on Collage Club, that's how I've kind of upped the ante with the colors and managed to get some of those more nuanced colors that I really struggle to get with the scanner. Obviously you can't print in neon, but you can get a really good, bold, vibrant print if I at least have the file as correct as it can be. We can get as close to it. Which sometimes when I print off my Collage Club and then I go to use it, I will actually go back over the top of it with like a metallic, or I could go back over it with one of these pencils if I used it on the mat, and I can, I want to say embellish, but I can kind of highlight some of that back out. If you've ever seen, you know, when people do prints of their work and then they go back over it with like a gloss gel medium or something just to pick up and accent the prints so that it looks like they've actually been worked on by hand, you can do that with your Collage Club as well. Right, I need a white pen because she's about to get all of her highlights. I love the highlights. And the mermaids get so many of them because they're glistening underwater. Let's start with the inner corner of the eye and some dots for the halo effect. Pardon me, sorry. I think my voice is starting to go a little bit. Look at that sun streaming in. Can you even see the page still? Looks like you can. I'm losing my voice from too much talking, so I better wrap this up in a minute. Lots of twinkly catch lights in the eyeballs. Little tip of the nose. In the middle of the face. The lips. Cheekbones, like it's glitter. These under eye ones are a little bit harsh. I might even go on the side of the face to kind of recontour that face shape out. A few strands of hair from the hairline. Don't mind if they're broken. Broken lines looks nice. Just got to keep your pen squiggling. There we go. I'm happy with that. Go down the middle of the neck. I call this Morse code highlights because they're dots and dashes. And I really just run them everywhere on my mermaids. If there's a whole cluster of dots, it's more like glittery and twinkly. But if it's the dots and dashes, it's just a highlight for me. They kind of all look the same anyway, but that's my distinction. It's how my brain works. And then for the tail, I actually do the little scribbles of scales. I'm trying to make a U shape, but I do it really quickly, so you can't really see. And you can brush your finger over them just to dull some of them down as well. That's nice. You can go back in and clean up her face. Again, I don't want to do anything too drastic where we start to expect that it should be all clean and neat, because you need a lot of that grit and texture for your eyes to be confused and kind of fill in the blanks for you. But sometimes I will just add, like, if I'm going to use it in Collage Club, I will just clean up something large and in the way, just because it's easier to do it manually for me than it is to do it on the computer. I wonder if I want to just add just some color up the top, just to, because I kind of get away from the page when I go to the top. I don't fully finish my paint strokes and then it looks like it's empty up there. I like it to look like it's still a part of the image. Just run some pencil over that. That will do just fine. Oh, she's so gorgeous. I do want a little bit more shadow. Do I have a darker purple? I think I have a duller purple, this one. Do I want her in there? I kind of like the depth of this shadow here, but I wonder if I have an olive green. No, I only have this one called mustard. It actually warms it up a little bit. Maybe I'll add some of this mustard color into the shadow areas. Sometimes those brown tones with all this color can start to look very grayish. There you go, that seems to have brought them back to life a little bit. Lovely. I'm very happy with this. Just going to add a little bit of something in there because it looks too open. That looks good. I think that looks great. All right, anything else? More lash? I think she's good with her lashes there. I might just add a slight bit of shading over the top of the eye onto the eyeball, just for it make it a little bit more alluring. I could do some really light brows. I'll do them in neon orange, why not? That's pretty. Oof, I love it. Alrighty, I'll give you some B-roll footage of that. That's it for me. Hope you had this. Hope you had a nice time just hanging out with me doing some art journaling. I'm super excited to go and see The Little Mermaid. I'm sure you will hear me talk all about it. I am anticipating it becoming my new favorite film. So, big things in store for me tonight. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Until next time, bye.